fabulous English country again, and today we'll read Magic Treehouse Stage Fright on a Summer Night. And I think Jack and Annie read a stage at a summer night. And today we'll start it at chapter 3, and we end up reading at chapter 5 because we're reading 2 story and 2 chapter in one book, okay? And now, are you ready for this one book and 2 stories? Now here we go. And first you can read Magic Treehouse Stage Fright on a Summer Night, chapter 3, The Bear Garden. Oh, I think the bear is at the garden. But why is the bear at the garden? I think some gardens people have growing some bear, I think. But bear is a little bit dangerous for the garden. And Jack and Annie passed under a stone gateway that led to a London Bridge. As they started across, Jack was amazed. The bridge was so noisy and smelly. Wagon wheels rumbled a thunder over cobblestones, and pots clinked in the carts. Horses, nigger shopkeepers shouted, "Good pies, hot peas, new beans." Wow, there's a lot of things to buy out here. "Shoes, soft, sold," a shopkeeper caught Jack's eye. "What like you, boy?" he shouted. "Nothing, thank you," said Jack, and they keep walking. "Watch out," a car driver yelled, and Jack grabbed Annie's hand. He putted her out of the way, and the cart rolled past them over a narrow roadway. "Look," said Annie. She pointed to the bear in a wooden cage in the back of the cart, and the bear had padded brown fur. His head was down. As the cart rumbled on, Jack shook his head. "What's next?" he said. "Then," said Annie, looking up, and she pointed to a huge black bird sitting on the edge of the rooftops. And the birds sat still. They stared down at the carts and animals and people crossing in the London Bridge. And Jack shivered and moved quickly at the page of the past the gauge of the giant silent birds. And finally, he and Annie kept to the end of the bridge. They stopped it on the riverbank, and they stopped it and looked around. "I wonder where those big kids went," said Annie. And Jack studied the crowd heading down the road from the bridge. There's no sign of the group of ragged boys. And Jack took out the research book. He found a picture of a London Bridge. He read aloud. "A London Bridge is connected in London to the south bank of the river, an area where the Londoners went for the instrument. And a bear garden was a popular spot." "Oh, I think it's not that people's garden. It might be Bear's home, Bear's playing center, and it might be Bear Garden then." "The Bear Garden?" said Annie. "That sounds good. Where is that?" Jack pointed a map to a south bank. He pointed to a circle that was labeled Bear Garden. Bear Garden. "Here," he said, looking up, and there, she pointed to the dark brown building in the distance. "Great," said Annie. "I want to see the garden filled with bears." "Let's read," started Jack. "Let's look," said Annie. She handed toward a bear garden. Jack put away the book and followed her. As they got closer, they heard a loud shouting and laughter coming inside a round building. And Annie stopped. "Wait," she said, "I'm getting bad feeling about a bear garden. Maybe we should read more about it." Jack opened their book again and he read aloud. As an area called the bear garden, people watch bears fight with dogs. An animal fights in a comet spot and old England. They're against the law today. "Oh, bears fight with dogs?" "Yuck," said Annie. "I couldn't stand to watch that." "Me neither," said Jack. "Forget that place." He started to walk away. "Hey, Jack, look over there," said Annie. She pointed to the cart nearby. There was a bear passing a huge bridge. And now, Chapter 4, A Midsummer Night's Dream. Now let's read Chapter 4 now. Annie and Jack ran over to the cart. It's of a cage, and the cage was a big brown bear, and the bear slumped over and had stood down as a sign of the cart. Dan, the dancing bar. "Oh, I think this bear's name is a Dan, and the Dan is dancing. But why is the Dan at this cage? I think Dan are going somewhere." And then Annie said, "Oh, are you going to fight?" A lonely-looking bear raised a huge head and looking at Annie. As dark eyes were set, he let out a low moan. "I understand," Annie said. "You don't want to fight. You're asking me to take you away." Annie reached the door of the bear's cage. "Away with you!" someone shouted angry. "That's my bear!" Jack and Annie whined around. The cart driver was charging to them. "He's mine! I'm selling him!" the man shouted. "Come on, Annie, let's go," said Jack. He put the crowd walking into the road. "But I have to save the Dan," said Annie, looking over her shoulder. "The guy wants to sell him to a bear fight." "I know," said Jack. "But we can't just steal him. The guy's owner." And Jack looked around. He needed to get Annie's mind off the bear. He saw a group of the older kids from the bridge. They were walking to the round white building. "Hey, look, a kids from the bridge," he said. "Let's see where we're going." "What about then?" said Annie. "We can figure out that later," said Jack. "Let's follow those kids now." They steered Annie to a white building. They got closer, and Jack read the sign in front. A play the Grub Theater. A Midsummer Night's Dream. "Great," Dwight Jack. Annie loved plays, and she loved acting in them at school. A man stood in a door theater. He was holding a box. "A penny to stand, a penny to stand," he shouted at older kids. Dropped a coin to the box and went inside. "Wow, this play cost only a penny," said Jack. "It's cheap." "But we didn't have any pennies," said Annie. "Besides, I want to go back and free Bear," Jack sighed. "What will you do with him if you free him, Annie?" he said. "I'll figure out something." She said, "We'll figure out when an owner is not standing there." Jack said, "Right now, let's learn something about the play." And he quickly put the research book. He found a picture of a gobble theater. He wanted Annie to forget about the bear, so he read with lots of the feeling. The first theater is built in an old England because there's no electricity. Playing was performed During the day when it was light, almost everyone could afford to go. Oh, I think this country didn't have electricity. Huh? Said Jack, and Annie sighed. And Jack kept reading aloud, dramatic voice. Sitting from Adrian's depend on how much was paid. The people who could afford a higher purchase sat in galleries about the stage. Others stood in an area below the boy, someone shouted, and Jack looked up. A man hurried over to Jack and Annie. He was long-legged with a thin beard and twinkly eyes. I could hear you about it across the way, the man said. You read very well. Jack smiled shyly. No, you are simply brilliant, said the man. I'm great in need of the boy who is a brilliant reader. Now, chapter 5, stage fright. Oh, I think Jacks are very good at reading, so Jax and Annie are going to the stage and gonna do a play like this. And now tomorrow will be started at chapter 5, stage fright, and we are reading in chapter 7 because we're reading a two story in one book, okay? And now, did you have fun? You're as English can you come up with some this book, but not this story because it might be a new chapter to read. Okay, now please thumbs in my YouTube, and thank you for coming to my YouTube, and happy Thursday, and bye bye everybody. Have a nice day.